It was a predictable yet unpredictable result. What's going on, everybody? Big Ten Ted for this game reaction. Oh boy, Ohio State has hit their stride at exactly the right time. So talk about rewind to the game preview and saying Michigan State's pass defense is a liability. Ohio State's pass offense is elite, and you saw that early on in the football game. This Ohio State team, early in the season, had a lot of trouble stopping the running game, right? You go back to that Oregon game, C.J. Verdall and what he was able to do, and they just pounded and pound the rock, and Ohio State couldn't stop them. That front was young, and they have developed, and they are improved, and they are hitting their stride defensively at the right time. Offensively, they're the most explosive offense in college football. I really don't think you can dispute that right now. What they have in the receiving corps, no other team can tout. The talent that they have catching football. C.J. Stroud, in a year where maybe quarterback play as a whole is down a little bit, C.J. Stroud, the redshirt freshman, is playing out of his mind right now, once again, hitting his stride at exactly the right time. I want to pose a question to everybody out there. This video is being recorded before the Oregon-Utah game on Saturday night. So, if Oregon loses, can Ohio State jump up to the number 2 team in the country? Okay? Here's a little argument, right? Oregon beat Ohio State, right? That was a 7-point game. It ended up being a close game. Right, Alabama has struggled against LSU. They struggled against what is now a bad Florida team. And Ohio State has been trouncing teams ever since they've gotten it together in the middle of the season. I'm not saying I would put Ohio State above Alabama, but the argument can certainly be made. And of course, Georgia and Bama is going to take care of itself at the top. So Ohio State, if Oregon loses, is definitely playing themselves into that number 2 spot, or who knows if Bama beats Georgia, maybe even the number 1 spot. Just saying, I'm putting it out there for everybody else. This week, if Oregon loses, I think there's an argument to put Ohio State as the number 2 team in the country. I want to shift over to Michigan State. Now, here you kind of rewind to the Mark D'Antonio era, right? They had a playoff appearance. They had Big Ten championship appearance. They had some really good teams, especially there in the mid-2010s. Here's the deal. This is a situation where those teams, right, were built on physicality, running the football, and great defense. And that's kind of been the MO for Michigan State teams when they've been successful in the past, is the defensive side of the ball. And boy, this defense is, I've said it time and time again, it's a liability. And, you've got a great defensive coach. Right, Mel Tucker was a DC under Kirby at Georgia. Of course, the DC at Alabama before he went to Colorado. He was a DC in the NFL in the early 2010s in Jacksonville. This guy knows defense. He knows how to coach defense. But one could argue that this team might be undefeated. Could be undefeated if they had half a defense over there. And that's the problem. And when you can't run the ball, when this offense can't run the ball, good things aren't going to happen either. But that's kind of what I'm looking at from a Michigan State point of view. I know Mel Tucker, he's got a lot of transfers. There's a lot of transfers on that defense. So they've had to gel in a short period of time. And they haven't had a lot of time to play with each other. I believe, assuming Mel Tucker signs this contract extension at Michigan State, he's going to get it figured out on defense, and he's going to have Michigan State successful for a very long time. But I'm just saying it's odd that Michigan State can't play a lick of defense and can't stop anybody when the other team's throwing the football all over the place. Look at Purdue. Look at Ohio State. They still got Penn State. I still think they're in a good position to make a New Year's 6 game. But man, if they're going to perform well in a New Year's 6 game, they got to get that pass defense figured out. Mel Tucker is a great coach. Mel Tucker's in the right spot, and he wants to be in the right spot. As I said before, assuming he signs this extension, Michigan State is going to be good for a long time, and it's going to make the Big Ten and the Big Ten East that much better. But just from my point of view, boy, it's weird seeing a Michigan State defense be this porous defending the pass as they are this season. I want to hear what you guys think. Would you put Ohio State, if Oregon loses, is Ohio State the number 2 team in the country? Can they leapfrog Alabama and Michigan State? What do you think about them going forward? Are they in trouble next week? Maybe against Penn State? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to Big Ten Ted for all sorts of Big Ten football content. I'm Big Ten Ted, and we'll see you in the next one.